Let us go to Emmett. Emmett, you are up next, sir. Hello.
Hi, Bart. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Awesome, yeah. I'm just walking outside. I'm in the Encore poker room right now.
In Boston, in Boston, right?
Yes.
Yep. Sweet. I went there a couple weeks ago. I'll probably start. I mean, so have they did they open up their tables yet? The new tables or no?
Not yet. I think they're putting in the shuffle machines and getting that squared away.
Right.
But the tables, they're all ready to go except for that.
Yeah, I mean, the inherent problem right now with Encore Boston Harbor is that the wait lists are just insane. I mean, you can get on there an hour and a half early with Poker Atlas, but you still have to wait another 2 hours. It's just, after being able to play poker without having to wait 4 hours to get on a table, I can just easily hop up to New Hampshire, which is what I've been doing. So
yeah, it'll be really nice when those tables are open. I think they'll be open within a week.
And of course, they've got I think they have a weird structure right now in their no limit games. The fact that there's a 5-5 1K cap and a 5-10 1500 cap is ridiculous. As I talked about in the flagship podcast over the last couple of weeks, those caps are way too close together.
Yeah, the 5-10 certainly plays a lot bigger than the 2-5, but
even with the 1500 cap.
Yeah, even with the 1500 cap, I think it still plays pretty big.
Okay.
Just a lot of money gets dumped on the table, I feel like, early on.
Yeah. Maybe they don't enforce going north all that much either. Who knows?
Yeah, no, definitely don't.
Okay.
But I have a hand for you from last Saturday.
Is this at 2-5?
Yep, 2-5.
So 2-5, 1K cap.
So there's a +1 open to...
And how deep are you guys? What's the effective stacks?
3K effective, actually, with both villains in this hand.
So this is a situation where when I was in the groove doing that review session for the last couple of weeks, I got up to like 3K in the 2-5, and when I moved to 5-10, I had to chip down to 1500. And I was like, what am I doing, right?
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But,
yeah.
I've never really been... I had like a hand like this, I feel like, where you're super deep with a couple other people. It's just like pretty rare, I feel like.
Okay.
The +1 open at 20. Next to act, flats to 20.
Okay.
Button also flat.
Okay.
I am in the big blind with Queen of Spades, Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Spades, Queen of Hearts in the big blind over the top of an open at 20, call. Okay.
3-bet to 125.
Okay. So just over 4x plus the dead limp. And everyone's pretty deep here, or for the most part?
Yeah, the +1 and next to actor I'm 3K effective with. They're actually both going to be going to the flop. The button ended up folding. He was a little shorter.
So you go to 125, +1, who's the initial opener, calls. MP also calls, which is a double flat, meaning he calls initially and now is calling, although he is slightly getting a price. And it looks like the pot's just about $400 here, right?
Correct, yes. I think I could go a little bit bigger just because we are deeper, but I didn't want to go, go to like 175 and they start folding out hands that I want them in there with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is sort of on the lower end of this. I mean, you still made it 4x plus the dead callers. I mean, really, I see a lot of people run into making it too small for value and going to like 90 here or something like that, so. Okay, so 400 to the flop.
Yep, 400 to the flop, and the main villain is going to be the villain who was So there's +1, and then there's next to act.
Mm-hmm.
Next to act is the main villain in the hand.
So I'm calling him MP or MP1. Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
The flop is Queen of Clubs, 10 of Clubs, 5 of Diamonds.
Queen of Clubs, 10 of Clubs, 5 of Diamonds. Oh, I remember this hand. I remember this hand. I don't know what happened, but I do remember the hand. So you flop top set here.
Yes, okay. Flop top set, so feel pretty good. I'm kind of trying to debate like whether I should bet or not here, just because there's not really a lot of top pairs that can call me. But there are a lot of draws available.
So this is kind of, I mean, again, this is straight out of small stakes exploit. Small stakes exploits over on Crush Live Poker, and I'm not saying that this board is a good example of this, or I mean, it's okay, but I feel like there are spots where, in theory, we're not supposed to bet, and it's usually in single raise pots. And I always say in the small stakes exploits series that you should be doing a much higher volume of betting than what is theoretical in these games. Now, with that being said, absolutely, I think that this is not one of those spots anyways. I mean, you probably are betting like ace, king, ace, jack. You've got sets of queens and sets of tens that are 3-betting off. Whether or not you do some checking with aces or kings here because it's too Broadway, we can debate, but I would still probably bet a lot of those hands too. So it's not like I need to, like I'm checking over pairs here, therefore I'm going to check top set. So, I mean, I know what you're saying, that you block a lot of top pairs, but still, it still is a 3-bet pot, and you'll still see a lot of Broadway types of holdings, represented. And again, the whole sort of reason for checking as a slow play is kind of allowing somebody to catch up to a strong second best hand. And on this particular board, I just don't really see it all that much. It would be one thing if you had pocket nines, it was 9 deuce 3, and you wanted to have some drooler catch up to top pair with a king or an ace that he's going to pay you off. But here, I mean, what are you really trying to have somebody catch up to? Like hitting a set on the turn, like with a small pair? I mean, the board is draw heavy enough,
Yeah, I know. I really didn't like this move. I feel like I should have just came out and bet. But I check, +1 checks, +2 now bets 225.
So hero checks, +1 checks, and then MP bets 225?
Correct.
That's interesting.
So the main villain in the hand. Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. So this guy was kind of an older guy. When he makes this bet, I think he has either a really, really strong draw or like 2 pair. And I feel like I should have raised right away.
Well, I was going to say, if you think that he's got a really strong draw or 2 pair, then there's really only one move here, which is raise.
I know.
Right?
I know. And like an idiot, I just flat because I wanted to keep +1 in because I feel like he would call, kind of overcall with like a 10, like 9-10, jack 10.
I don't know, man. I mean,
I know
that doesn't sound. I mean, that's a little bit of I think a logical inconsistency here. Let's just walk this back with what you're saying. The reason why that is because it's a 3-bet pot. You got MP betting 225. You as the pre-flop raiser calling a 10 there, unless the guy is just the most whaley of whale guys, is not going to overcall. So, and then even if he did, what you're trying to have him hit a 2-outer, because then the kicker with the 10 is going to shut down a lot of the action anyways. So a lot of times what will end up happening when you're blocking a lot of the top pair is you allow, again, kind of what I said in the last call with negative equity slow play, you might allow a guy to actually overcall with a hand that can beat you, that he otherwise is not going to give you any action with unless he beats you like ace jack, whatever, ace king, some sort of gut shot or something like that. This isn't specifically in this situation because you're blocking a lot of the top pair. But I tend to agree with your read in this situation where you block a lot of top pair. That MP1 guy is betting fairly heavy here. He probably has a draw or a queen. In either case, I don't think he's folding to a check raise, but I think you know that. So anyways, hero calls, and what does +1 do? Does +1 fold?
+1 did end up calling.
So 225 times 3 is 675. Looks like the pot is like 1075 now.
Yeah, we're looking at 1070, right around there.
1070, I'm going to put up 1075, and, you guys have like, 2700, so you're still pretty deep.
I know, I butchered the whole thing, Bart.
So, okay, let's move to the turn.
So, I'm obviously planning to kind of check raise a super brick turn with hoping MP one bets, but the turn ends up being the eight of diamonds.
Okay, so the turn's an 8 of diamonds. I just want to talk about what you had just said. Of course, turn being 8 of diamonds is not the brickiest brick of the world, but even if it was the brickiest brick of the world, right? The problem here, by just sort of playing this cagey, is that if you take a step back and look at the configuration now, it's actually quite bad for you that the guy overcalled in the middle now, because now the guy who's in position is going to be so much more likely to just check it through with a draw. Like, he's not going to be able to get through 2 people here in a 3-bet pot after you check call and the guy overcalls. Like, anybody with any sense here is going to check through a draw, unless it's the biggest of combo draws, like maybe like ace jack of clubs, which now turns double gutted or something like that. But I mean, if he has like 5x of clubs, ace 6 of clubs, he's always going to check it through. So that's inevitably the problem here. with the sort of setup. But hero checks, okay.
Yeah, so I check again.
Yep.
On the turn, +1 checks, +2 checks, like you said.
Didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't, but it's not. So, I mean, there's a very good chance that +2 here has a club draw, right? Or some sort of draw. Whether that be king jack or clubs. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Could he be pot controlling queen X? Yeah, maybe. But it just kind of sucks because if the front door comes in, I think you're going to be forced to check and evaluate, and then you just pray it gets checked through because he'll just check back a queen at the end.
Yeah, certainly. And like, I didn't really think this guy was going to be blasting off on the flop with like just a 10. So I really am narrowing it down to like maybe he has top pair, kind of weak kicker, taking a stab on the flop, or he has some sort of draw.
Okay, so what's the river?
The river is the jack of diamonds.
Jack of diamonds. So that's interesting. So it's queen of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. Turns the 8 of diamonds. So the river's the jack of diamonds. It brings a backdoor diamond draw in too, right?
Correct.
Is that right?
Backdoor, it brings in the backdoor diamonds. I don't have a diamond.
Right. So there, obviously ace king comes in. And there's also a one-liner to a 9. Those hands probably aren't that relevant unless someone somehow has queen 9. But also with the backdoor diamonds coming in here, you can't really bet here. I don't think you can't bet your hand for value here now too, because part of your range consists of ace king. So and then you're also losing the backdoor diamond. So it would be very overly optimistic to think that you're going to get called by worse here. And it's just not, I don't think it's worth it to bet into 2 people. I mean, you could make a case maybe super thin in a different scenario heads up, but I think I check evaluate here. Yeah.
So I bet 350 for thin value.
Do you follow what I'm saying though, Emmett?
No, I absolutely do. Yeah.
There's a one-liner out there to a 9, and the ace king comes in backdoor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think this was a great spot to check, evaluate, maybe check call, depending on kind of what happens with the other 2 guys.
Yeah, you gotta figure out. I mean, if you check and then the guy in the middle bets like hefty and the other guy calls, I could see making a tough fold. I just think this is a little bit on the thin side. I mean, at least you kept your sizing a little bit in check. So you go 350, okay?
Yeah, I go 350, and +1 ends up folding.
Okay.
Maybe he just had 10x or didn't have much.
Yeah.
And now +2 raises to 900.
+2 raises to 900. So, I mean, I don't think a 9 is ever raising here. +2, or we call him whatever, MP, is not going to have ace king, I think, because of pre-flop. So what he's really representing is backdoor diamonds. Now, I think also, too, one of the things to look back at is if you had already said you don't have the queen of diamonds, so that's out there, so it's possible he could have queen X of diamonds. He could also have 10x of diamonds here too, but for the most part, he is representing a diamond flush, and man, these things are so underbluffed here because I'd have to invent a hand that contained busted clubs, because a 9 is going to call too, right? Like if
exactly,
you had a club draw with a 9 in it, that's going to call too, which is a straight. So it'd have to be some sort of pure bluff, and call me crazy, but so 350 into, so it's 1425 and then 2325 it looks like, and it's 550 for you to call. 2325 550 to call is what it looks like, math on
right.
on things. So you're getting like 4 to 1 here. I mean I hate folding. I hate folding sets getting good pot odds, but I mean, I wouldn't have put myself in this spot. It's a real shitty spot. I mean, do you agree that he's never doing anything? He's not raising here for value with something that's worse than your hand.
Correct. Like with a set, he calls maybe with 2 pair. Maybe he flicks in the crying call, but like he's never doing it with like the hand worse than mine for value.
So you have to find a bluff then.
Right. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of bluffs, and I'm like, did he just kind of back into it with like ace 9 of clubs, maybe king 9 of clubs?
I don't think he's raising a club at the end, although your sizing is, I just don't, because I think you have enough ace king that you're protected against getting raised here versus a bare 9 plus backdoor diamonds come in too. So you could have backdoor diamonds as well. So I don't think he's raising a bear 9, unless he's just out to lunch. I mean, that's my take on this end.
I really didn't know what to think here. I was just kind of thinking, like, this is a kind of please call me type of sizing. This is, like you said, it's a really under bluff spot. If he's got a bluff, great. But I think 9 out of 10 times here, if I call, I get shown a better hand at these stakes.
Sam Gibson says King Jack of clubs. King Jack of clubs would have been a royal draw on the flop that would take a card on the turn and then turn their hand into a bluff on the river. That's all. If that guy got that, I'll tap the table. What ended up happening?
Yeah, so I actually ended up folding.
Okay.
And I got owned. He had 5-6 of clubs.
5-6 of clubs. Wow.
Yeah, so pair and a flush draw. So bet the flop, check the turn, take a free card, and then kind of took my bet on the river for what it was. Kind of a thin value bet, and he thought he could get away with it on a scary board. It was a nice play, honestly.
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, nice play.
Totally owned me, I guess.
Here's the thing. This is what sort of led me to thinking fold. I mean, it's a nice play with what the results were, but most of the time someone's not betting queen here. And, maybe if you had like ace king, especially with the diamond, like ace king with the ace of diamonds is a snap call here, right?
I know.
I don't, for him to think that that's going to get through when your bet looks so strong is kind of crazy, because I feel like you went way, way too thin. But this is the reason why sometimes I don't like to fold sets for pot odds. But this guy probably would have got me to fold, but I don't think I get here like this. Actually, I know I don't get here like this. So
yeah, I know. And I feel like if I had just bet the flop, I feel like he raises flop, we may end up getting it all in on the flop. Kind of going to run out. I feel like this was the kind of guy who would just get in pair and a flush draw for a million big blinds.
Yeah. Interesting call. Thank you very much, Evan.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bart.
All right.